You know, when I was watching motorsport back in my youth, I latched myself into whatever piece of media I could to satiate the thirst I had for my new favourite sport. And one of those things that stood out for me was the movie Driven. It still stands out today, but for a different reason. And the same applies to virtually any racing fan that has seen this movie. So come along everybody and let's talk about Driven. So this film is based upon the American Open Wheel Racing Championship kart, in a fictionalized version of the 2000 season, where Juan Montoya and Mark Blundell didn't happen, and instead we have Bo Brandenburg, who appears to be the bastard love child of Nico Hulkenberg and a log, and young up-and-coming rookie Jimmy Bly. At the start we get this cool little montage of stuff which, whilst there are some discrepancies here and there, you can forgive that kind of stuff. There is an emphasis on how Jimmy Bly is a fan favourite who is losing momentum over the last couple of races, which is relatable nowadays. But we get a look into the root cause of this when his brother, now manager and professional asshole, oversells the importance of the commercial side of racing. But hey, we need a reason for our hero to come back from adversity, and this is a way to do it, I suppose.
What I do have is allegiance to you, so don't doubt me.
We also see that whilst Brandenburg is leading the championship and is all gung-ho and what forth, his marriage to his bimbo is on the rocks.
What am I?
Distraction. Sorry.
And hey, I can't blame him. The man's a professional driver. You gotta live with that, toots. So anyway, here comes the first race of the season at the now defunct Chicago Motor Speedway, where, after some serious discrepancies like, wait, hang on, is this guy in first gear and turning left? Wait, what? Bly spins out of the race after fighting for the lead with Brandenburg. Looking to get the team and Bly back into championship contention, team boss Carl Henry, played by the late great Burt Reynolds, calls up Rocky to bring him in as Bly's wingman. Okay, so his name is Joe Tanto, and was supposedly a real hot shoe back in the day of racing. And so we move on to the next race in Toronto where, for some reason, they give Tanto his first test on the exhibition place street course, running over 3 coins with a left rear tyre. Now, I know this was something that Fangio did, but if you try doing that in Champ Car with the grip that thing had, good luck, bruh. This guy also had a weird humming fixation whilst driving close to the limit. Now, I can't say whether or not that actually has been done before in the racing world, but I mean, hey, Hollywood. After the inescapable blah 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 in the club before the race, because if there's one thing that racing films need, it's a love triangle, right? It's race time in Toronto. We get some cool shots of the actual race before we get a totally realistic and believable crash. Bly takes the lead around what would have been the outside of turn 3, and then that's when Carl Henry drags Tanto into the pits.
I want you to pit now. Why? I don't need to pit. I want you to pit.
This was all a ploy to wingman Brandenburg. After the most well-timed piece of tactics in motorsport history, Bly holds off Brandenburg for the win. At this point the love triangle comes into full swing, but I mean hey, what else are we going to do in the time in between all the important bits? After clubbing in a city in Tokyo which was nowhere near the actual racetrack, Bly crashes on the final lap in something that would have broken most people's legs back in the day, and now doubt is starting to creep back into his mind, and by this stage, Henry is starting to emit some serious Helmut Marko vibes. After Brandenburg wins back Bimbo, Bly reacts in the most reasonable manner by jacking one of the prototype cars at the launch function in the middle of Chicago. Now apart from the fact that racing a champ car in downtown Chicago would only be extremely illegal, how the hell did he start his car? And more crucially, how did Tanto start his? Yeah, that's right. After seeing Bly hightail it, he sets off in hot pursuit. After some of the most unrealistic scenes involving racing cars and causing more damage to Chicago than the Bears, Bly and Rocky have a little inspirational moment which acts as a pivotal moment for Bly.
So if you trust me now, if you trust yourself, by the end of the season you'll either be on top or you won't. But I guarantee you, you're gonna know what Jimmy Bly is really made of.
Oh boy, this film has every type of cliche imaginable. Leaving 2 prototype champ cars in the middle of Chicago, which, to be honest, probably should have been followed up with the cars ending up on bricks, the incident was sort of glossed over before the next race in Germany. By this stage, Henry dumps Tanto for Memo Marino, saying that Tanto wasn't getting the results he wanted. Sound familiar? So, this race in Germany. Oh boy. This part of the film has so many cardinal sins that watching it as a motor racing fan, it's painful. But hey, we're all gonna do this together, so let's do this. Right, first off, this race isn't on any German racetracks of any manner. Instead, it's literally held on the Autobahn. Cordoned off sections of the Autobahn, but seriously? They couldn't get access to any German track? And remarkably, this track had some mean-ass banking on it. What is this thing? At some point during the boat race, Max Pappas is sent up into the outer regions of the atmosphere, making him the highest driver since Frank Montagny. So after that was glossed over, the attention turns back to the lead of the race, where Memo Marino is trying to multi-21 Jimmy Bly by passing him on the... Wait, hang on. Wait, what? But anyway, back to the point. Marino tries to pass him on the banking before, you guessed it, he crashes. After crashing in slow motion, which is pretty impressive, cartwheeling across the track, blowing up and being thrown into the river, Bly pulls a 180 and goes to save the day for his cowboy teammate. Brandenburg joins in to help, they rescue Marino, which they cap off with the standard Hollywood explosion jump, but hey, Hollywood. As Bly and Marino recover in hospital, Henry breaks it to Tanto that he'll be dropping Bly at the end of the season in favour of luring Brandenburg over from Ganassi.
I don't think he's the real deal. I don't think he's mentally tough enough. I don't think he's adult enough.
Gee, all of this sounds really familiar. Of course, this is also in tandem with Bly's dickhead brother, as if you needed any more reason to hate the guy wearing the suit. But before all of this, there's still one last race in Detroit Belle Isle. Yeah, somehow after all of this really is still going down as a winner-takes-all situation. And the finale in Detroit, I suppose I guess. After a nice little montage of the real drivers all going about their pre-race rituals and what forth, the race begins with Bly starting from the rear after not qualifying, which I'm not really sure how that works, but anyway. 15 seconds go by in the race, which means we were overdue for a massively unrealistic accident. Now, apart from the fact that this happened on an oval course for some reason, this type of accident was seriously not needed to be put in the film. Because just a couple years beforehand, in real life, Adrian Fernandez had a wheel come off after a crash, which went into the stands and killed 3 spectators. So yeah, that would have gone down well like a nice cup of sick for the kart officials. And of course, after switching from oval to road course, then back to oval again, trying to paint kart drivers as though they were about as crash prone as Tiger Woods on a night out in Florida, the race is thrown under caution with Tanto now joining Bly at the back of the field after munting his front wing in the accident. Teamwork ensues and we're treated to the closest thing to a Rocky motor racing montage training thing as we're gonna get. I don't know. I suppose it's stock standard in a Hollywood racing film for passing to be piss easy. Okay, what? The scene just makes me laugh. I don't know. Like, why did this guy lose control? Why did he all of a sudden just get some air? Why are all of these drivers just losing it and slamming into anything around them? Why did Fernandez and Andretti go over the wall? Why are we seeing the Montreal Grand Prix course? How? What? Why? As a racing fan, this makes no sense. But for a moviegoer, it doesn't make any sense either, I think. Oh no, how can any of this make sense? But of course that means Bly and Tanto are now up with Brandenburg because apparently that accident wiped out every driver in existence. And so that means that 10 laps to go, our 3 main drivers are battling it out for the championship. That could only mean one thing. Bly takes the lead before losing it again with 3 laps to go. Oh, what could be done now?
What's he doing?
Jesus. He's back.
Oh yeah, he back alright. And what happens next is both the best and the worst racing scene of all time. Fantastic. Terrible. Who cares? It exists and it pumps me up every time. But the suspension is now screwed on Tanto's car, leaving Brandenburg and Bly to duke it out on the final lap on the final straightaway, which goes on forever. Like, this is Fast and the Furious airport runway long. At this point, I've just given up on anything realistic and just given into this cartoon of a race. Bly gets some inspirational words from Tanto before this happens. Okay, what? He's humming now? Did he have the snack before, or did he just pick it up now? I mean, what? So the race goes down to the line with Bly beating out Brandenburg for the World Championship and becoming the hero of the people. So yeah, that's the film in a nutshell, but if we're gonna nail down why racing fans hate it, the answer is simple. It's shit. I mean, apart from the not so interesting drama that happens in between the races themselves just have so many random weird things with them. The racing scenes are awkward, the setup of the cars changes throughout the races. I mean, 1 minute it's the oval setup, 1 minute it's the road course. I mean, like, what? Please. There are goofs everywhere, massively unrealistic crashes, and just in general, a really bad representation of motorsport. It also came at a time when kart desperately needed the good PR, and this was honestly the worst thing to happen. Having said that, it's a fun movie to watch, if you're blind and have no appreciation for the sport, but it was a movie that stuck with me since my childhood, for better or for worse. So what racing films did you enjoy as a child? You know I talk shit about this movie for the last little bit, and, that's a little weird, but it is something I go back to from time to time. It's dumb, but it's fun. Pretty much like all of Burt Reynolds' films. But yeah, comment down below what you think. I mean, what you think of this film, what your favourite films were as a child for motor racing, and I'll see you in the next one.